The supercar market, so to speak, has pretty much been dominated by three big names for many years: Ferrari, Lamborghini and Porsche. Aston Martin are a sort of fourth. They make Gran Turismo supercars, but everyone sort of associates that name with fast cars, and that's, I guess, mainly down to the Bond films. Many manufacturers have tried to join this list. A lot of them have gone bust trying, and a lot of them, the sort of general public who don't really know much about cars, have probably never heard of. Only two manufacturers have ever succeeded. Pagani, thanks to the Zonda, not just because it is fast, it is a good car, but it's not sort of ultimately fast. It's joined the list because it is, well, basically mental, and its follow-up, the Huara, or whatever sound you want to make beginning with H, because no one really knows what it's called, looks to be continuing the trend. Koenigsegg are the second name, and unlike the Zonda, this CC8S, the first sort of car they made, doesn't look like it's about to transform into a giant robot. However, it does have a 646 horsepower twin supercharged engine, meaning its top speed is over 240 miles an hour. Anything that goes that fast gets noticed. Subsequent models got faster and faster. The CCR even held the top speed record briefly. The Agera then has a lot to live up to, and luckily it doesn't disappoint. The engine is a 950 horsepower twin turbocharged V8. That is a lot of power, and its top speed is also huge, 259 miles an hour. But it's not just the speed, it's the way it gets to this sort of ridiculous top speed. 0 to 60 is less than 3 seconds, you'll be doing 100 in under 6, and even when it hits 220 it just doesn't stop pulling. Most cars I don't really believe the top speed that the game claims they will do, but I have no doubt that this will hit that speed figure. I was hitting 249 around this oval and it showed no sign of slowing down anytime soon. The acceleration is, well, pretty much mind-bending, but what is it like when it gets to the corners? Well, this is where things kind of go a little bit wrong. Understeer is a rather big issue. It just does not want to turn into basically any corner, which is surprising considering this is a, I wouldn't even call it a super, this is more of a hypercar. And then of course, when you do get round the corner and you go to put some power down, if you touch the throttle, it pretty much wheel spins. It's not quite as bad as an Ultimate Aero, but it is still a very, very tricky car to drive. The brakes are very good though, which is good because you'll be going very, very fast, very, very quickly. They are probably better, or one of the best, for this sort of hypercar performance. They really do stop you in pretty good time. One thing I will say though is if you race cockpit view, which quite a lot of people do, you are not going to see a huge amount. Koenigsegg visibility is as pretty much terrible as it normally is. All in all, this is a pretty incredible car. Acceleration is amazing, considering all of the horsepower is going to the rear wheels rather than four-wheel drive like the Veyron, and this is pretty much as fast accelerating as that. Of course, the top speed is also ridiculous. Around a track it is always going to struggle though. It's not really designed to be a track car, is it? But that's not to say it won't be fast. While you will lose a lot of time in the corners, the acceleration will try its best to make up for it. And of course, on that note, it is time to hand the car over to the Stig and see what lap time he can get out of it. And here we are on the start line. Ignore the glowing brake disc at the back. Stig was having some fun doing some burnouts with the car earlier. But yeah, expectation-wise, this is a serious contender for the #1 spot. Probably the biggest contender the Saleen has had so far. So, up to the first corner, it's going very fast up to that point. Gets turned in nicely, and there isn't actually as much understeer as I was expecting. It's a little bit wanting to go sideways on the exit, but still, it's very fast through there. It's a bit of flames and everything. Up to Chicago, it gets turned in quite well. It is looking a little bit slow around there. You just cannot get the power down because there's so much of it. It all wants to escape out and go sideways. But down here, he can use all of the ridiculous horsepowers, but not for very long because he'll be straight back on the brakes into Hammerhead. Now, this is where the car is going to struggle. It's going to understeer a little bit through here. You can see Stig's already had some run-ins with the cones, and there's a bit of oversteer on the exit as well, just for good measure. Now, through the fastest part of the track, up to the follow-through. Of course, there is no way you could be able to take this flat out. There is a brake, and I think there's even a downshift through there. But it's still looking actually quite controlled through there. Past the tyre walls, and it's very fast. It's probably one of the fastest cars we've had through that section. It's just ridiculous. Up to the second to last corner now. The brake discs are glowing bright red again. Gets turned in actually surprisingly nicely. There hasn't been as much understeer as I was expecting. And around the last corner, we eventually see a little bit of understeer. But a bit wide, Stig kind of throws it across the line and across the grass. But there we go. Now, the lap time for the Koenigsegg, has it beaten the record of the Saleen? Well, I am sorry to tell you, it didn't do it. It did a 1:13.5, which puts it in third. It's still a very, very fast lap time. And to be honest, the reason why it hasn't won or hasn't beaten the record is that Stig just could not put the power down around Chicago and around the Hammerhead especially. There's so much time was wasted sort of waiting to get it in a straight line that's where all the time has gone. So that is it for this episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you have a car that you want to see us review, leave it in the comment section and we shall pick some, or pick one, and that will be in a video next week. But yeah, that's it. So until next time, goodbye.